Welcome to Discovering. It's brutal, it's punishing, and it's uphill all the way. The Marji Gesick is known as one of the most challenging endurance bike races in the Midwest, and it's right here in the UP.
It's a lot of suffering, but it's extremely rewarding to ride my bike all day and enjoy the Marquette County single track.
Stick around, it's Monday night and time for Discovering.
The secret streams that flow beneath the cliffs of colored stone. Forest thick and healthy with birch and pine and oak. Surrounded by the greatest lakes this world has ever known. The black bear's awesome presence as he roams the hills and fields. Call of the timber wolf, the loon's lonesome trill. The eagle soaring high above, the trout lies deep and still. These are what I treasure, the only way I measure feelings that I have for this fine land. There is so much to discover when you're a long-time lover of northern Michigan.
The race started in 2015. Danny and I think we came together and we wanted to put together an event that did a couple of things. We wanted to feature Marquette County, all of the trails that it has.
It started, we had a very successful snow bike race called the Polar Roll the first year. And we were having coffee in the spring. He said, what are we going to do for the summertime? And I've had this vision in my mind for a long time of this 100-mile race linking all the trails in Marquette County together to make a 100-mile race. And I said, I got it. Let's do it. And it kind of started from there.
We wanted to put together an event for the community and for those in the Midwest and even outside the Midwest that would really test one's spirit, one's will, and their ability to push through a difficult event.
They said, you're not going to get 12, maybe 15 people to show up for something like that on these trails. Now we have 650 people signed up for this weekend.
Some say it's the most grueling bike race in the Midwest.
I've probably bitten off more than I can chew, but we'll find out.
Some say in the entire country.
I'm from Somerset, Wisconsin, in the beautiful St. Croix River Valley. I'm expecting to be on my bike longer than I've ever ridden my mountain bike. I've done a lot of long road stuff, but this is the first time on the mountain bike for this amount of time. Rode a little bit yesterday and got a chance to see what we're kind of up against, and I'm excited about it. I'm just going to try to keep it cool and pace myself and try to get a belt buckle.
100 miles of bone-jarring, skin-ripping, brutal, unforgiving mining country trails that zigzag through the rugged UP landscape from Marquette to Ishpeming.
Yeah, I'm up here from the Madison, Wisconsin area. Here to enjoy the trails and hopefully finish in under 12 hours, but we'll see how that goes.
12,000 feet of overall ascent.
This is my first year. From what I've heard, it's going to be rocky and rough and pretty brutal, so it'll challenge me for sure.
My name is David Leibel. I live in Munising, Michigan. This will be my third year doing the Marji Gesick. I'm really excited to be involved with the event once again. It's a lot of suffering, but it's extremely rewarding to get out, ride my bike all day, and enjoy the Marquette County single track. It's something I've been doing for a long time, and I'm really passionate about it. This event, is really awesome for supporting the local trails, and I'm really excited to be a part of it.
It's a challenge that will test even the most conditioned endurance athletes.
Like, we're going to crush it and show Danny and Todd what's going on, and then about 7-8 hours from now we'll be crying. That's how it goes, right?
From around the country, they come for a chance to win a coveted buckle.
The course is primarily single track throughout all of Marquette County. There's a lot of climbing, so this race is famous for the 12,000 feet of climbing. So there's a lot of hike-a-bike, especially towards the end as we get into Ishpeming later tonight. So it'll be challenging for sure.
They come to test themselves, to put their skills and determination on the pedals of a bike and see if they can make it to the top of the mountain.
See if it's really as bad as they say it is.
They come with one goal, just to finish.
One thing that's neat is that we employ what's called a Le Mans start. For bikers, that means they have to run for a half mile. Loops out of the Forestville ski trails and then back to where 400 bikes are staged in this open field. Hopefully they remember where their bike is. And as they run back into the field, they find their bike, they hop on it, and they shoot out into the actual bike start chute, and they're off and running. The trail links three, what I would say, are unique areas in Marquette County. The 100-mile race starts out in the Harlow Lake area. That's North Marquette. The natural feel of that trail, the age of that trail, you can just tell when you're riding out there. That stuff's been there a long time. Built by hand. It's a very unique experience to come through the Harlow Lake area, which eventually ties in to the North Trails that the NTN Single Track Committee builds in Marquette. That eventually connects us into the South Trails, also built by the NTN, and we go all through the South Trails, and then we shoot racers west up into Negaunee, Nishwameen, into a trail system. I think we have 45 miles up here in the race that is built by RAMBA, which is the Range Area Mountain Bike Association. The Harlow stuff is really unique, and it's old, it's rocky, it's rooty, some really fantastic views of Lake Superior. South Trails is known for some really nasty climbs and big downhills, big descents. And then you get over here into the west end, mining country, it's just unforgiving. It's not huge climbs, but it's just climb after climb after climb after climb. And it's rocks and it's roots. We had a racer last year, Carrie Lowry from down south. She came up. She's a former NUE National Ultra Endurance Series champion. And what she said that we've kind of latched on to is there's no free trail out there. Even when you're going downhill, you're not necessarily having fun, you're working your butt off. So the trail is just old school, gnarly mountain biking. The one thing I'd say that does put us apart, or set us apart, is that we're 90% single track, whereas a lot of 100-milers are open two-track or gravel, so they're done a lot faster. Our event, if you average 9 miles an hour, you're doing really good. Whereas, other events, you're going to be 12, 13, 14 miles an hour. People, when they first heard us say, we don't think you're going to finish under 12 hours, and if you do, we'll give you a belt buckle, I think they thought the buckle was going to be easy money. After 2 years, we've given away, out of 600 or 700 people that have tried the race, 30 buckles. That's it. So there's no free trail, and the buckles aren't easy money. Put together 100-mile, which really spans the county. And then the 50-mile, this year in the third year, it starts in Marquette, does some of the NTN trail system on South Trails, and then it heads west and really ends up probably featuring best the RAMBA trail system here in the west end. And that's the hardest part of the race. Whether you're doing the 50 or the 100, this west end, the last 40 miles, and then the last 15, the race is known for the last 15 being the hardest miles of the day. We've got locals that do the race, but as this race has grown now, we're getting people from all across the country. This year, the Marji Gesick is part of the NUE, National Ultra Endurance Series. It's a national series. Actually, it's international. They have some races in Europe and overseas. That's bringing people from everywhere. We got people coming from the south, we got people coming from the west, from the east, from the north, from Canada. They're coming from all over the place, and I think that the race is really helping to put the range mountain bike trails on the map for mountain biking. And it deserves to be on the map because these guys that started the club have been building trail by hand for 30 years. You know, they've done it because they love to ride bikes, and it's something that you know, they're going to leave behind as their legacy. We are a self-supported event. They're unusual, but basically what it means is throughout the year we tell our racers, you're self-supported, you're on your own, GPS is required. You can come and do the race without GPS, but if you choose to do that and you end up in Lance, we're not coming to get you. If you get hurt, you're gonna need to call 911, and you need to be self-sufficient. That is the mantra of the event. There are no aid stations, and there's nobody out there to save you. You're on your own. Well, the really cool thing that's happened, community-sponsored aid stations.
Aid stations at Marji.
There are no aid stations. We're just having a picnic. Welcome.
Our community across Marquette County has come out every year and really put out these incredible spreads of food and support and drink and encouragement for the racers. The racers who came from around the country all said that they've never been at an event as well supported by the local community as this one, that is just blowing them away. And that's, you know, it's a testament to the area we live in and the people that are here to do something that they don't have to do, you know, to be part of it. I mean, that's another part of the unscripted nature of this event. You never know from year to year where aid will be, if it will be, who it will be, or what it'll be. So it's just really cool, and I'm really glad that the community has embraced it.
That was, you know, Todd's idea, the blame thing, you know. He had these signs made, blame Danny, blame Todd, and, you know, they were usually on these excruciating hill climbs.
I had this idea doing one of the climbs that's on the course, but I'm thinking, man, this just sucks. This is not fun at all. Who am I going to blame about it? And that's where this idea came, blame Danny and blame Todd. And it's taken off. I mean, that's probably one of the biggest parts to the race. The race has what would be referred to as a high attrition rate. I'd say through the first 2 years, and it's probably going to hold true again today in year 3. The rate of people dropping out is from 55 to 60% every year. That, you know, they start, but they can't get her done. And I think that's actually also what has added to the allure of the event. To be able to walk away from this and say you did it, whether you got a belt buckle or, you know, you were on the podium or not, it doesn't matter, because really this day is about just finishing. That's really all that matters.
You know, I designed this course. I didn't want everybody to finish. If everybody finished after the race, everybody said, well, okay, I did that. I'll move on to something else. So we got to do something that's tough as nails. You know, everything here in the UP is that way. We got the mines, we got the logging industry and everything else. You know, it's not easy work. The biking thing, that's what I wanted to portray here. People from out of the area have no idea what they're coming to when they come up here.
We're one of the only ultra endurance events in the country or in the Midwest that can say from the start to the finish, it's all uphill. We feel pretty strongly that we're in pretty close to 12,000 feet. And most people would tell you that there's no way you're going to get to 12,000 feet of climbing, you know, in the Midwest. Well, come do the race and find out.
You know, we have rocks, we have roots. You know, we don't have 12,000 foot peaks like they have in Colorado, but we have short, steep, punchy climbs that are never ending. A person came up to me and said, there's no way you can get 11,000 feet in Marquette County. You'd be lying. I said, okay, trust me, we'll get it. And I saw him quitting last year at 40 miles. He says, yeah, you did it.
You know, it's interesting to see how this thing has grown. I mean, in 3 years, we've gone from an event that people said, why are you doing this? It's too hard, nobody's ever going to do it. And Danny and I would look at each other and say, well, we'll see. And in the first year, it was 117 people. After that, it exploded in social media with the feedback from people who had been here. In the second year, the race sold out in 2 weeks. That race ended up selling out to 600 participants. And then this year, I think we've gone to like 625. So it's just continuing to grow from what it started as. Marji Gesick, I sat down in front of my laptop and I Googled Ishpeming iron ore mining history. And the name that kept coming up was Marji Gesick. And so I started looking deeper into the story. And the story, honestly, for anybody that is unfamiliar with Marji Gesick, I would say you need to look into it. It's a great story, a ton of Upper Peninsula history and heritage. I was just so intrigued by how it kind of let me see into the history of the area, things I didn't know. I felt that name, that story represented us well. The toughness of the people who came before us, their strength to go through that mining lifestyle is very similar to what these bikers go through. It's not easy, man. You got to grind it out. That's what life was like then, and that's what a day on the bike is like in the Marji Gesick. In the first year, our finish line, we finished actually on Jasper Knob here in Ishpeming. When the event grew to 600 people last year, it's not possible to run a finish line on top of Jasper Knob. The last couple of years, we've had to move our finish line to downtown Ishpeming. First of all, running from Marquette to Ishpeming helped us achieve our goal of wanting to be the only event in the country that is all uphill from start to finish. The other thing was just all sorts of good stuff happening on the west end, but all the events that typically start here, they end down in Marquette. So this was our way of kind of flipping that script. Finishing in Ishpeming, featuring a huge transition area in Negaunee, showing what the West End has to offer. Hopefully it is helping the Ishpeming businesses a little bit by bringing these people into town and supporting the local business.
Yeah, 3 years ago, Todd Paquette asked me to make the award for the Marji Gesick 100. And it was decided that a belt buckle would be the award. Over a period of several weeks, I made tools and designed the process for making the belt buckles and then went into production. I think the first year I made 12. The second year I made 60, 22 of which were handed out. And this year I made 24. As well as making the belt buckles, I am stamping the date in the belt buckle as the riders finish the race. So each one is individually stamped for the rider.
My name is Jeremiah Bishop with Team Topi Gargon, one of the top 3 teams in the world of ultra endurance mountain bike racing. So please heed my warning when I tell you this is the hardest single day race in America. It is mean, it has mud, roots, rocks, sand, a little bit of everything that's hard. Beautiful trails, hats off to the trail builders and local trail advocacy organizations, which have obviously put and invested a lot into this area. It's an area I want to come and visit just to ride. I hear people driving up from Ohio to ride here and, coming from all over the place to check out the trails that are being built here. This race in particular is very interesting in that it has no official aid stations. Initially my first reaction was, what in the world was that? 10 hours for a 100-mile race. I've probably done close to 45 100-mile races. But this is neat for a lot of different reasons. But what was special about it, no aid stations, I was out of water, I suffered, but it was neat because I had help from people along the way, and it was super fun to experience new trails in a race and to test your limits. I think ultimately that's what the Marji Gesick 100 is about, testing your limits, having fun, and I wouldn't have those interactions with people if I hadn't been in need, you know, and that was special. It made it very different.
The Marji Gesick race and the other races we do, or the youth programming that we do, it's all nonprofit. So last year I want to say that the Marji Gesick gave $20,000 back to local trail builders, which I'd like to think isn't just supporting bikers, but it's supporting bikers, hikers, walkers, runners, anybody who's a silent sports enthusiast. I'd like to think that we're somehow adding some value to our community and helping give them more things to explore and more adventures, you know, to tell their friends about. But that's definitely something that, it's not that we're trying to brag about it, but I think it's important for everybody to know, and it's probably also part of the reason why the community has supported it. Everything we're trying to do, that we've been running around all week, you know, busting our butts to do, is to give back. I don't think there's anything that you can give a person or another person in your life that's more valuable than your time. You know, it's one thing to give money, which I'm not trying to downplay that or devalue it, but you know, everybody's short on time. And when you look around this city today in Ishpeming, and you see all these people out here volunteering in 88-degree weather on September 23rd or whatever day it is, they don't have to be there. They're giving their time, and they're giving it back to these racers and to the community.
If you're looking for something to do this weekend, it's the Calumet Keweenaw Sportsman's Club Gun and Knife Show on October 6th and 7th. Admission is only $5 and all the proceeds from the event will be used for the supplemental deer feeding program. For all the info, visit KeweenawSportsman.org. Well, that's it for tonight. If you'd like to keep tabs on what's coming up on Discovering or see where we've been, go to 906outdoors.com. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week right here on Discovering.